Good morning, everyone. I'm Peter Clark, Chief Operating Officer of Doha Bank. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to the Doha Bank customer event on digital innovation in financial services. It is great to have so many delegates attending this online event. We have an excellent lineup of speakers for you today, starting with the Doha Bank Group CEO, Dr. Sitaraman, and then guest speakers from MasterCard, Oracle, IBM, and Google. A Premier League lineup of technology companies, and I really appreciate the speakers taking time out from their busy schedules to make this event a success. I'm sure you're all aware that financial services is going through a digital revolution, and it has already started. How customers will be interacting with their banks, the services being provided, the new entrants into the market, and the changing regulations will create many challenges, but there are fantastic opportunities as well. The banks that are the most agile, innovative, can anticipate customer needs and harness the opportunities of new technology will be the eventual winners. Doha Bank, together with many of the partners we will hear from today, are committed to this technology revolution. As a longtime IT guy, I'm excited by technology playing a key role in customer experience and organizational success. I'm sure our customers will have a lot to look forward to in the times ahead as we deliver on the promise of digital transformation. So without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce our next speaker. He is someone who believes passionately about the need to digitally transform financial services. I hand over to the Doha Bank Group CEO, Dr. Sitaraman.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you for your remarks. What a joy to be integral part of this brilliant combination of speakers, experts in their own respects. We have Oracle, we have MasterCard, IBM, and again, Google. You can't have better assembly than this. Our audience is always special, and they have shown their response, committed response. Nearing 300 people are directly registering, and I know the numbers will cross 4 digits on the Facebook. And it's an extraordinary set of challenges and changes we are facing at the defining moment in the world. The transformation is real. Pre-COVID also, it was coming up. COVID has accelerated the whole space. In terms of economics and the overall governance, we are still coming to terms. Both the monetary policy and fiscal policy across the globe have been redefined. The global growth, as good as this month when the International Monetary Fund has spelled out, is going to be in the range of 5.9%. Advanced economists should be reporting around 5.2% in aggregate terms. They've accelerated the vaccine administration. When it comes to emerging market or developing economies, they should be doing around 6.4%. In fact, they have recasted, downward simply because the vaccine administration is rather slow. And that's the overall picture in terms of economics. Economics now is converging with economics. We are seeing everywhere the overall changing dynamics for a green mission. United Nations spellbound sustainable development goals has been the new world order. This crisis has taught us enormous amount of lessons. Of course, we had human tragedy. We lost nearly 4.91 million people in global terms. In fact, we had over 241 million people was impacted. Qatar lost around 608 people, and we had an impact of 238,000. When it comes to vaccine administration in global terms, now we have seen the semblance of acceleration. Now, as it stands now, 37% is the global administration. When it comes to Qatar, eligible population is over 80-85%. When it comes to total population, nearing 78%. So every country has taken, measured and managed the social risk, and they put in framework for governance, economic risk, and allied business continuity, as I said, monetary policy or fiscal policy. When it comes to the environmental risk, which is a major concern for the world, yesterday there were reorganizations in Qatar for the ministerial birth. In terms of climate change, there is a new minister appointed. That shows the importance of the protection of the planet is paramount for the global prosperity for the future generation. We recognize we need to look at objectively and convert the negatives into positives. The pandemic, of course, has taught us few lessons. Elimination of extreme poverty or gender equality or healthcare, universal healthcare or universal education, rising sea level, increasing temperature, animal extinction, global warming and climate change. This is a major, major challenge to the world. So we need to come together, create a new world, new discipline, and digital is a solution. And that's convergence in your business model. As an institutions, we set in our own well-founded principles of 5R. Number one, restructuring of the debts. Number two, remedial management. Number three is to recognize we have remodeling of the complete business, wholesale or retail, treasury or investments or international banking. It's going through a set of changes. The tools are available today. We are going to have beautiful world. We're going to have a betterment of the humanity in the coming days, provided we come to terms, we all recognize this opportunity and redefine global prosperity, create a better world for our children and grandchildren. That's the purpose. Without much ado, let me run through the presentation. I thought it's appropriate to set the tone for the wonderful speakers combination here. Now, as a chief executive of an institution which has got global footprints in nearly 18 countries, we want to recognize these changes are real, the challenges are real. And the future technologies and digital innovations is here to stay. And they're going to make extraordinary set of transformation to the betterment of the world. As I outlined, this is a number which IMF indicated. Now, tools are very many. Let me run through some of the very interesting clips I've seen of late. I thought if I show a few of the clips in the next 10 minutes, audience will get into the rhythm and then experts will take over from their functional discipline. Now, watch this. That's what it is. 3D printing impacting the healthcare organization. Dynamics are changing in terms of healthcare. Now, transplant is a new story. Medical applications becomes more driven by these values. Internet will become a basic right. And that's the message we are getting. Increasing usage of mobility, smartphones. Now, when it comes to robotics are the best partners for human being. Robotics are also evolving. So robotic process automation in various segments of the financial institutions. Now, as institutions, we are also looking at putting the robotics process automation wherever it is feasible. We are working on the process reorganizations and support of the mechanics. So essentially, robotics is going to play a big role. That's not alone. If you look at artificial intelligence, IBM has got a good presentation, you will hear it. Now, if you look at cars to start with, it's mind-boggling. Watch this clip. So you will have driverless car. That's going to be real. So cars leveraging on renewable energy, that's also real. And artificial intelligence will have wide-ranging applications in various industries, including financial services. That's the message we're getting. What about Internet of Things? You have over 50 billion gadgets today. It's all going to get interconnected in total terms. And recognizing the fact, it provides extraordinary opportunities. If you have connected world, connected mobility, and you are interconnected and you shrink the world, and we live in a global village, and knowledge transcends in total terms. What cannot be achieved for human prosperity? That's why I said it's a beautiful world. The future is going to be better than the present. Our purpose of existence is to add value to the future generations, I suppose. Watch this clip.
When everything becomes linked with everything else, matter becomes mind, and the possibilities become endless. Imagine 50 billion IoT connected devices by 2020. Now, imagine the economic impact of these connected machines. $4 to $11 trillion per year by 2025. Wearable devices, environmental sensors, agricultural machinery, components in a vehicle, or devices in homes can all be connected to deliver insights and drive transformation. So imagine if you had smart devices in your home, your car, your workplace, or even on yourself. The world becomes alive. That's Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is making everyday objects into data factories. When Internet of Things, along with big data, meets artificial intelligence, this interface will become enlivened with intelligence, and a new world will take birth, which will increasingly talk back to us.
Interesting, isn't it? It's all happening. Voice technology. Look at major tech players, what they have done into this segment. Take a listen.
In 2007, Steve Jobs disrupted personal computing when he introduced a mobile touchscreen computer that fit in your pocket. Now, we are entering a new era where we are bypassing screens. This is the era of voice, and the fight is on to own this new operating system and app ecosystem that comes with it. Currently, 35% of US households own at least one smart speaker, and that number is set to reach 75% by 2025. This is fueling voice-enabled commerce, which is expected to be worth more than $80 billion per year by 2023. So it's no surprise that the 6 largest companies in the world, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google, Facebook, and Alibaba, are all investing billions in improving their voice-enabled AI assistants. What's really interesting about voice is that the user experience is much more streamlined than other platforms. And this makes it incredibly powerful, but also susceptible to manipulation. A smart voice assistant will answer your questions directly and accurately, without listing off a laundry list of answers.
Who says the world has not changed? It's changing for good. Let's move on to the next segment, that is digital innovation impact. Whatever happened, my colleague has just mentioned, industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution is far excelling the previous one. The opportunity to improve the human welfare is the purpose. Back to the last decade, one aspect, the future looks, for me, exciting stuff. And watch this clip.
As banks begin to get more personal, so will the ways we pay. In the future, cash is no longer king. Instead, paying with your phone or wearable will be the status quo, rendering physical cards unnecessary. 60% of financial organizations are expected to make wearables a common payment method. Physical shops will still exist, but the way you pay will change, with money changing hands virtually, in real time. Cryptocurrencies may rival cash, with an estimated 200 million blockchain wallet users by the end of this decade. And many currencies could digitize and even decentralize, simplifying travel and trade.
That's not alone. We have to see a cashless society. Sweden is already stepping in. By 2023, you'll have a cashless society. Parallel money should be rooted out. You need trust and transparency in financial service. And the rest of the world has to drive towards truth. Nothing but truth. Money laundering, financing terrorism, all should be wiped out. Here is an opportunity. Technology is an opportunity to interconnect and destroy all the evil deeds. And that's the purpose of our existence, isn't it? What about mobile wallet? Take a look.
Mobile wallets have become a major buzzword and are a growing factor in payments. So what are they, and how can you start benefiting from them in your e-commerce business? A mobile wallet is software that stores a shopper's payment details, like credit cards or bank account information, and allows the shopper to use that information to easily make a payment or purchase. Some examples include Apple Pay, Android Pay, MasterPass, and Visa Checkout. The main benefit of a mobile wallet is to make checkout quicker and easier across devices and more secure, because the shopper doesn't have to re-enter their card and billing details every time they make a purchase. How do you benefit from this as a merchant? Well, since checkout is easier for the shopper with a mobile wallet, then you can increase your conversion rates by just allowing your shoppers to pay using a wallet. Removing an obstacle to checkout means that fewer shoppers will abandon the shopping cart and more will finish the checkout process. So how do you enable shoppers to pay using a mobile wallet? If you're using BlueSnap's Buy Now Hosted Checkout pages, these payment options are built in. Simply enable them in your account settings and they'll appear on your checkout pages. If you're using BlueSnap's Payment API, you can offer these mobile wallets by adding the relevant wallet button to your checkout page, and then using the wallet info to process the transaction through the API as usual.
So, most important thing is to recognize opportunities are endless. We have open banking, application programming interface. Watch this. It is extraordinary.
Over the last decade, large and successful digital players in various industries have used open application programming interfaces, or APIs, to connect their services with apps and websites of third parties. Today, open API technologies have evolved to an extent that allows them to be applied by the financial services industry, where security is key. This opens up new opportunities for banks and other financial services providers to offer innovative digital services themselves. The emerging business model, open banking, empowers end customers to control and share their personal account data with third parties of their choice through offering a new range of products. As a result, financial services become more relevant in the digital space for end customers, and compliance with new regulation is made easier.
So when it comes to artificial intelligence and payments, again, huge opportunity.
Did you know? Every time you use your card, Visa's AI is learning. Every purchase you make helps Visa get even better at protecting your next transaction. Visa's AI doesn't know your name or exactly what you bought. It sees activities and patterns to learn what your typical purchase behavior looks like, so that even before you make your first purchase, we can spot suspicious activity. For every attempted purchase, Visa's AI assesses fraud risk so that the bank that issued your card can approve or deny the transaction, or send a text asking you to confirm an unusual payment. Let's take a closer look at how it works. Every Visa account has a profile of previous transaction data. Each time you buy something, the account profile is updated. and compared to the spending behavior of more than 3 billion other accounts.
So it's all getting tracked. So essentially, it's going to be a fire as far as artificial intelligence is concerned. IBM have got a good presentation, so you will enjoy it as well. Now, building a digital ecosystem is ultimate. Interconnecting all this, making sure we make the most out of it, whichever be the business industry you belong to, a business you run, and optimize and make it sure truly global in terms of reflection. And that's what it is. Nothing is local now. Everything is global. And we live in an interconnected, interdependent world. Finally, building a digital ecosystem will make or break your value stream. Have a look.
The goal in the transition from cash to digital payments is building a strong digital payments ecosystem. That means putting in place the technology, the partnerships, and the rules needed for digital payments to operate effectively. When the system works, more people will use it. When enough people use it, a tipping point is reached where it becomes harder to stay outside the digital payments system. Let's look at who plays a part. Governments set digital payments regulations and enforce them. They can also lead by example by making and receiving payments like salaries, pensions, and taxes electronically. Financial institutions issue accounts that enable electronic transfers. Payment companies authorize and settle transactions between payers and payees. Telecommunication companies transmit transactions between devices. They provide electronic channels to access financial services, and businesses and individuals make and accept electronic payments for the things they buy and sell. Building a strong digital payments ecosystem means linking these people and organizations in a way that shares the benefits of digital payments efficiently.
That's the purpose. That's my presentation, gentlemen and the ladies. Now, the fellow speakers are a lot to say. Each one of them is going to take 15 minutes, showcase their presentations. I know you are keen on asking questions. In between, one or two questions will fly. If there's time permits, finally we'll take it. If I cannot answer all your questions, me personally or through my panel, will send you the response as early as possible. Now, let me have the great pleasure of welcoming the first speaker, Mr. Gaurang Shah, Senior Vice President, Product Management, Digital Payments and Labs, MasterCard. Over to you, Gaurang.
Thank you, Dr. Sitaraman. Hello, friends. So let me start by echoing what Dr. Sitaraman said. The transformation is here. And this is creating a new normal in retail banking and overall retail financial services space. So over the next 10-15 minutes, I will take this retail financial services lens, and I'll try to unpack for you what does a new normal look like? What are the implications of these digital transformation and the new technologies that is impacting? And how can we help get us to start unlocking these opportunities? Because the leaders for future would be the ones who now adapt to this new normal in a way that you can unlock the opportunities. So let me try to unpack this for you. Okay, so if we look at the most prominent trends that is really impacting our ecosystem in the retail financial service space, especially with the acceleration driven by the pandemic. The biggest one within that is the consumers finally embracing digital commerce in a way that they have never done before. In fact, in the last 1 year, we saw an impact that we expected over the next 5 years. So that was equivalent to an impact that was created in the last 10 years with regards to the consumer behavior change. And also the rise of multiple commerce platforms that really enabled this growth. So this is really, really a huge one. Even if I look at the MIA numbers, Online commerce increased by over 40% in the last 1 year. The actual cash decreased in the PC decreased in the economies by about 9% in the last 1 year itself. And about 43% of the SMEs said, hey, they need to adopt digital for them to survive. They no longer can only be physical. So that's a single biggest impact which has happened with the pandemic. And then combined with that, the host of various trends and technologies is already accelerating it. For example, with the rise of fintechs and someone earlier was mentioning about, hey, there's so much of fintech activity that we are seeing across our region. And if you look at the amount of VC funding that has happened in the last 12 months alone, it's humongous. And with that, there is era coming, which is of open banking, where a lot of front-ending of the banking services will be done by the fintech, because experience is becoming a key for consumers to embrace that. There are multiple new players entering the markets. We talked about fintech, there are MNOs, there are retailers, there are a lot of innovator fintechs which are coming in, who all want to play in the financial services space. So that's an entire new world which is getting created, where consumers are spoiled for choices, but they are demanding something that is very unique to them. So no longer one standard platform addressing generic needs and expecting consumers to align to that reality is going to be successful. Consumers are asking the organizations to align to their demands and experiences that they need. And the last point, you say new technologies are fueling changes. So let me talk to you. What are the 4 or 5 biggest technologies that we're seeing will create the biggest impact? 2 of them, the Internet of Things, and then driven now with the introduction of 5G. That is going to be huge. The way we interact between 2 parties, it will completely change. With 5G, the video streaming services, the multiple streaming services would be in a fraction of milliseconds, not in seconds. That we and that's what is going to create a completely new economic model and opportunities for businesses to build their value models on. Look at this. The rise of subscription-based channels and pay on demand, it's huge now. Like the Netflix, like your Amazon Prime, they're replacing many of our standard dish TV or a satellite TV contents. So those are the big changes these technologies are allowing. Cloud and edge computing, yeah, now the businesses doesn't need to invest huge amount of capital to launch their business, and more businesses are based on the underlying technology services. So that's becoming huge. Artificial intelligence. Probably, if you force me to choose one among these 5 which will have the biggest impact, I would say that's really AI. Because, like I said, consumers are expecting a personalization at their level, which the artificial intelligence is delivering. Think about the Amazon and the experience that was created 10 years back. Think about when you go into a Google search, how things come, what is relevant. All of those things are driven by AI, because consumers are saying, hey, I am not 1 in a million, I am one, and so treat me as one. So that's where the biggest wins or losses will get decided. And the last one is I can't complete any presentation without talking about blockchain or the distributed ledger technology. So, but in my view, these are the 5 of the biggest things that's impacting our business models. Quickly going, hey, as the landscapes are shifting, we must also do. So one of the biggest one here is around, I'll not go through everything, is around the interfaces. As the aggregation of the commerce platforms happening, as the consumers are getting digital, we need to now think digital first. What I mean by that is, traditionally, broadly in the financial services industry, we have our brick and mortar solutions, and then we add mobile and web as a channel, and we feel that that's the way to go about it. However, what's happening now is that's not good enough. We've already moved into the era of digital first and probably digital only. What that means is we need to think end-to-end digital first. Just creating a mobile app is not good enough. If, for example, if I apply, let's say for a loan, if it's going to still take 3 days and the manual process in the backend for that loan to get approved, you have lost the consumers of tomorrow. End-to-end, the processes also needs to be digitized. And that requires a completely different mindset and probably the organization structures within the financial services industry to make that happen. And we're seeing the difference where some of the latest neobanks and like Apple card, they're enjoying the activation rates of 90% plus on their cards book, versus we are used to an activation rate of 50%, and that's a good benchmark. So that's the difference that it creates, and how you drive relevancy. The other one I will talk, the only other point I'll mention here is BNPL, or a small term funding at the point of transaction. That is becoming a huge growth driver, and we need to keep pace to serve our customers with these innovative products. I'll not go in detail on any of these points in the interest of time, but the 2 points that I want to make is, hey, it's our responsibility as an industry to ensure the safety and security of our solutions to the consumers. But earlier we used to say, hey, we have to create a balance or choose between the safety and security and experience. But now we have moved into an era where both needs to stand hand in hand. Otherwise, we will not win. How do you create a experience which is completely seamless for consumer, but also is super secure? Like when you do a mobile payments, and you just look at it in the background without consumer even realizing it, we have authenticated the consumer using the face, and the transaction goes through. Nothing more secure than that, and seamless than that. So those are the things that we as an industry will need to focus on and drive. So seamless security, amazing experience, personalized experience, and end-to-end digital first approach. So that's what I would say, and I want to end with giving you a presentation or video on how can we really help you make this happen. So let me just play a video on that.
Voice technology. We couldn't hear you. We are seeing the picture.
Today, a growing audience of digital natives are dominating the scene. They have expectations of immediate, convenient, and relevant fulfillment of all services from the palm of their hand. The emergence of neobanks makes it imperative to provide a seamless digital financial experience to this audience. Building a digital-first payment proposition requires deep knowledge of consumer insights, a set of technology capabilities, and a simplified and seamless user experience. MasterCard brings you digital payment APIs, identity solutions, fraud prevention tools, consumer benefits, and marketing assets that will allow you to build your own end-to-end digital payment proposition. A proposition that will provide your customer with a seamless journey across the different lifecycle stages. From simple application and electronic KYC, to instant virtual card issuance and activation within the app. Your customers can immediately start transacting by paying physically at the store or at an online retailer, or by seamlessly integrating their credentials for digital services, or setting up recurring bill payments. Of course, with the option of ordering a physical card if needed. All their transactions are displayed in a simple and transparent way and can be grouped by category, by month, or by statement cycle. Who needs statements now? And since MasterCard products come packed with benefits, you will be able to integrate all of those benefits into one user interface that allows your customers to easily discover and redeem those benefits, such as concierge service, airport lounge access, processing insurance claims, travel rewards, priceless experiences, and many more. MasterCard's personalization engine, you can notify them of benefits that are contextual, timely, based on real-time user analytics and geolocation. You can also give your customers control over their spending limits by currency, geography, merchant category, and more through MasterCard Cyber and Intelligence Solutions. And if they need help, well, our AI-powered chatbot will be there to help them. This is a glimpse of what we can together build for your customers, because MasterCard is the partner that will support you throughout the entire journey, where we define your digital transformation roadmap, design functional specifications bringing all technical capabilities and solutions required, and deliver with end-to-end project management, as well as a host of Fintech partners for solution launch and go-to-market. MasterCard is here to enable you. We are your partner of choice on your digital journey.
Good.
Thank you.
Good, very good. Thank you, Gaurang. Ladies and gentlemen, what a brilliant presentations we all enjoyed. Now, one question for you, briefly, if you can respond. Where do you see the opportunities for quantum computing in the midst?
Yeah, so, and I will encourage all my fellow panelists to come in. I think where the opportunity of quantum computing is happening is really around for various different players to be able to come in and launch their services very, very quickly. And especially as we talked about AI, for AI to be successful, we need a certain kind of power which quantum computing applies. So that's where I see a huge value. It's a backbone on which a certain capabilities that will be delivered and front-ended to the customer. And one of them is personalization.
Interesting. In fact, IBM's CEO has been very vocal on quantum computing, how it can strategize and transform. I'm sure Inigo will, you have to say after your presentation, or if you want to comment on it, Inigo, it's up to you. You would like to say anything on the
Yeah, indeed. We, as a matter of fact, quantum computing. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
As a matter of fact, quantum computing is here. We've already opened a couple of systems where our partners and customers can already start prototyping with quantum computing. My take on it would be, and I've been working quite closely with research teams in Dublin, Ireland on it. I would say my main message would be that it really addresses problem spaces that are not addressable with the traditional computing. And certainly in the space of artificial intelligence, that is huge. We will be able to do many things.
That's interesting. In fact, your CEO, Arvind Krishna, last year when he took responsibility, his first word was that's the strategic direction he's realigning. So it's all coming up. Now let me move on to the next speakers. In the interest of time, and if there's any questions to you, Gaurang, definitely we'll take it at the end. Yeah. Now I have to bring in a brilliant presentation. I looked at the presentation today morning, what Mr. Shahid Khan, the strategic leader of banking and insurance, Middle East and Africa from Oracle. You are going to enjoy the presentations as much as I enjoyed today morning. Shahid, over to you.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Sitaraman. I think at the cost of being repetitive, let me just introduce myself once again. My name is Shahid Khan. I work as industry strategy leader for Middle East, Africa, and Europe. I've been in the FSI space for roughly about 26 years, so I think I can safely say I know a thing or two about banking. I used to be working at a bank as well for about 10 years, one of the leading banks here in the region for which is called Mashreq and rest of it. So again, given the short or a small window of time, what I'm going to do today is for the sake and the respect to time here, I'm going to have a kind of a more of a laser focus in two topics when you talk about digital transformation. So digital transformation is something which, unfortunately, when you go bank to bank, the definition differs. And it can be as basic as being paperless. It can be as simple as being branchless. It could be automation. It could be digital products. It could be digital processes and all of that. But for us as Oracle, it's a little more wider than that. And for us, the pinnacle of digital transformation, when we talk about it, it has to go all the way up to the open banking, covering all what I mentioned so far. So that's what open banking is. And there are several other components and tentacles of it, which complements the entire journey. I knew I'm going to be talking to bankers here, and I couldn't resist not pulling this file up, this slide up. And this is very, very interesting when you talk about the region. If you look at the cost to income, and it just overwhelms me every time I look at it. So if you look at it globally, so if you talk about Germany, they're talking about 71.58, Kuwait 36, which is really good, Qatar 33.12, Saudi 41.73, UAE 37. But here is the winner, all right? Egypt 27.7, and most of the banks around the globe are actually struggling to bring it below 50%. Anyways, moving on, digital transformation. A recent IDC survey, this is what it says, that 50% of the banks are actually accelerating, which means they are hitting the pedal full strength. So most of the tier 1, tier 2 banks were already on the digital transformation journey pre-COVID, but during the COVID, what they've done is they've actually hit the pedal big time, saying those projects which were spec'd out for less than 1.5, 2 years, we want to finish them in months. 52% said that whatever we had, we're going to continue that. And there are about 25% who have actually initiated the digital transformation journey, and 17 have slowed down. So again, this figure varies from tier to tier, which tier you're looking at, 1, 2, 3, and that's what defines the course of the digital transformation for the bank. Now, this is another thing, and this is no rocket science. I believe all of you must know it already, that given the time that we live in, given the economies that we live in, given the economies of scale that we live in, I think vendors like us have transformed our payment processes and procedures and policies. So no more you guys need, and complement to that is obviously the cloud. So no more you need acres for a fleet of servers for yourselves and thousands of licenses for the software to run on it. And if you look back after a year and a half, you have a question mark how much you have been using and how much you've been paying in support and all of that. So gone are the days for that. So there's a tremendous shift, if you see, of banks moving from being CapEx heavy to OpEx heavy. And obviously it has tremendous savings in there in terms of depreciation and everything. Just to put it in layman's language, this is how it is, that pay as you consume. So no more burden of, additional fixed costs sitting on your head for years and years, which you're not even utilizing. With Fintechs, I just wanted to give you a kind of a landscape in the region. I wanted to bring the story home, all right, which is Middle East. So again, if you go Middle East, and it varies, the Fintech evolution or traction even, it varies country to country when you deep dive into Middle East. So this is how the landscape looks like, the Fintechs landscape in KSA, which is Saudi Arabia. So these are the companies that you see here, which are already in payments and currency exchange area. These are the Fintechs which are into private funding, capital markets, business tools and information provision, lending and finance, banking and banking infrastructure, insurance, personal finance, and treasury management. So you see, there's a rise of Fintechs almost, I wouldn't say in all, but major pillars of the banking industry in KSA. And trust me, we work with these guys and the list changes almost on a daily basis. Tremendous amount of work. This is how Egypt looks like. So this is another a kind of a trailblazer for Middle East, where all of these Fintechs are coming up and actually acquiring the FSI space, complementing the FSI space in terms of several kinds of services across the customer service. When I say customer service, it includes products and services and everything else, right from trade finance to your customer experience to payments to everything. So a tremendous rise in Egypt as well. Now, this is what I wanted to show you today, which is Oracle's Fintech story, all right, which is again, which we see as path to future of banking. So it's all about assembling the banking platform. It's all about cloud first for all new initiatives, partner and collaborate with Fintech. This is as simple as it is. This is how we see as the next evolution or growth of banking. Now, if you were to take one step further deep into it, this is how it looks like to us. Why Fintechs? All right, it's a fancy word, Fintech, but what do they do? Actually, again, we know Fintechs are supposed to be the world's best at what they do. These guys are supposed to be niche players. I'm talking globally. And these guys come with very specific capabilities, which is supposed to be the world's best. All right. So what do they do in that? Personalization. They have taken it to a totally different level. Intuitive. You don't have to build things. You don't have to integrate several intelligent capabilities and technologies into it. It's all pre-built in their offerings. Easy. That's the key. All right. So what you saw on MasterCard, especially an example of e-wallet, you just flash and go. No more threat of COVID, no more pulling out your wallet, no more exposing yourself to the virus, or even carrying your wallet with you. Insightful, even in picking the same example, it gives a user the entire stats of his expenditures and saving plans that he has set forth for himself. So every transaction he does, the system is or the application is smart enough to tell him that, hey, you've used $1,000 here, which means you're falling short now about $200 for your monthly saving plan. So be careful now what you do next. You have just $3,000 more left in your wallet. And it's quick. It's about speed. Now, in Oracle Fintechs initiatives, what we do is we work with these Fintechs across the globe. And we have something what we call curated pool of Fintechs. So we bring this wealth from across the globe and take it to our different markets to offer them. And obviously the creation process is we sit down with the Fintechs and Fintechs which are worth working with in terms of their presence, in terms of the technology or platform they use, their sustainability, how strong they are in terms of funding, what all they have done in terms of the success stories. And then we walk them through and certify them with our cloud OCI, which is Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Technology, and make sure that they are cloud compatible and their technology is super strong. So the entire curated innovation takes place. They are integrated, preloaded with banking, with something which is called sandboxes. It is mitigated and then integrated into Oracle Cloud as I just talked about. And then we provide them the enterprise mentorship as well and the future proofing. All right. So all of this, we make sure these Fintechs are enterprise ready. They are no more a small tiny player, which is which is coming around the corner. And when you talk about fintech, a fintech working with a bank, they raise their hand and say, "Oh no, we are not that big. We can't support this. We can't support you. We can't support your customer base." So we just make sure they pass through those hurdles. Just as an example, a peek through. These are some of the fintechs that we have in our curated pool. I have segmented them based on industry pillars, FSI industry pillars, which is wealth management, consumer banking, commercial banking, risk and compliance. So if you look at, so these are the names: Persitonics, Deon, Perks, ICS, Strengths. Let's just take an example. So strengths are for example, the guys who are supposed to be the world's best when it comes to personal finance management or business finance management. Let's take another example, ICS. So when you talk about trade finance, you talk about letter of guarantee. So all of this through blockchain, how it can be simplified. They have just done it. Quantify, another one. Yeah. So you talk about AML, you talk about KYC, unbelievable kind of use cases, unbelievable kind of technologies and offerings they have. Similarly, for capital markets, payments, Islamic banking, blockchain, and insurance. So you talk about, for example, R3, tremendous amount of work on digital ledger, which is your blockchain technology. Quant, another blockchain example in there. ICS, so you talk about payments. Again, let's say FinWeb, payments and blockchain and credit scoring. Baton, distributed ledger, predictive analysis, trade settlements. Unbelievable amount of innovation that these fintechs carry. Now, I quickly want to move on, given the short period of time that I have, and I want to give you a glimpse of open banking. So what is open banking? Open banking is basically just about moving away, sorry for that, moving away from closed ecosystem to open ecosystem. So personally, I believe that banks have survived on this closed ecosystem. And this closed ecosystem, what it means, here is the bank, here is the customer, and there's nobody in between ever allowed iron gates in there. I think they have survived for way long on similar kind of a model. But with the PSD2 directive all across and central banks mandating it, they have forced them to open up. And obviously there is tremendous amount of gains in there. So if I take you back in the past, 2008 burst, besides the fraud component, which cost US about $400 billion, I think this, if this was there, I think the hit would have been way more or less, because with this, banks can actually collaborate with all the other industries around them and make sure that they have the best in terms of information and collaboration which can possibly be there. So you take an example, underwriting process, right? So an SME comes in and says, can you give me $5 million facility? So sure. So besides the data that you have at hand in the bank of the SME, you can actually go out to these entities and say, hey, government, can you please give me any violations on the labor front with these guys in the last 5 years? You go to utility and say, how does the payment history looks like on all the bills for last 3 years? And likewise, you can have your underwriting built so strong that no more NPLs, hopefully at least of that level that we have seen in the past, in the recent past. So what does it come down to? Open banking actually is all about 3 models, all right, which is happening as we talk. There's a traditional banking where manufacturing layer is all the products of the bank. So you talk about the CASAs, the credit cards and all of that. Bank owns it. Distribution and user interface also owned by the bank. Platform banking, which is shaping up, which means the manufacturing layer is owned by the bank, but distribution and user interface is owned by the third party, not them. They said, we don't want to get into this. We are bankers. We know how to build financial instruments, so to say, or products. That's what we're going to do. And there are so many other fintechs and whatever who are so good at the next phase of the chain, and we'll hand it over to them. Another model is distributed model, where manufacturing layer is owned by bank and the third party together, but distribution is owned by the banks only. So this is where all the fintechs collaboration is coming and saying, hey, we are not going to spend 1.5, 2 years of R&D money, resources, and time in developing a product. And by the time it's ready and we are ready to launch, it's obsolete already, or competition has already beaten us. We are actually going to go out and reach to a fintech who is already the world's best in it, shake hands with them and get into the business. Tomorrow, we are ready to offer our customers the world's best, be it trade finance, blockchain, anything you talk about, and they're ready to go. So what do we as Oracle, complement in this whole open banking story? So we have built about 2,000 plus APIs pre-built for FSI only. So you talk about any vertical or segment within the banking, accounts, customer onboarding, payments, deposits, wallets, trade finance, authentication, application tracking, loans. We have, if not thousands, hundreds and hundreds of pre-built APIs, which means what? Tomorrow you can just plug and play. You don't have to bother about anything. Now, this is at a very high level architecture of what we do in open banking. So obviously there is a core banking layer, which could be Oracle or non-Oracle. So all your product processors, so to say, or main core applications sit here. Then we give you a banking API connectivity, where you have all the marketing, sales, origination, services, and the entire customer experience business layer. Then this is the fintech service layer that we provide, right from onboarding, AI, biometrics, aggregators, personalizations, biometrics, all of that stuff. And on top of it, we give you a platform as a service digital tooling layer, where you develop whatever APIs and co-innovation happens here, right from developers tools, integration management, process management, chatbots, mobile development, and then the rest of it. Then we also take it to the next level, where we give you the access to the marketplace, where you can actually interact with the rest of the world through your architecture, and actually have your API designer and API managers control the entire environment exposure of the bank, that nobody comes in and crack anything for you. Yet being able to extend hand and co-innovate, co-develop, and integrate with the rest of the world. This is our IaaS layer, which is infrastructure as a layer. So you talk about the cloud and the entire stories right here. But more importantly, I just wanted to quickly show you one last slide after this. So these are some references across the world. You talk about Citi, Wells, BBVA, Europe's number 1, US is number 2, Maastricht, Weatherby's. All of these are already in there, and this is what they've done. So BBVA has done a lot of work when it comes to open banking on onboarding, cloud aggregation, address change, cross-selling, KYC, and rest of it. But this is my last slide, and probably the messiest yet inspirational slide to me. what you're looking at is a messy slide with tons of arrows in it. But what it is basically an X-ray of the backbone of a bank, which everybody would know, Wells Fargo, which happens to be the US's #2 bank. Now, what you're looking at is when a customer walks into Wells Fargo and says, hey, guys, I need a loan, all right, or credit. They actually say, oh, sure, sir, not a problem. They actually go and they actually go and hit event credit and say, please provide a credit or a loan to this guy, or lending club. When a customer comes in for insurance, they actually go to Goji and say, give him insurance based on his requirements. Investment retirement, they actually go to Acorn or Robinhood to provide him the investing or retirement. When someone comes for financial education, they actually go to NerdWallet or Credit or Karma. When someone comes in for, let's say, wealth management, they go to Wealthfront or Betterment. So again, the list can go on and on and on. So point is, Wells Fargo has not done anything in terms of developing these products themselves, but collaborated with world's best fintechs to provide their customers the world's best products and services. Yet customer doesn't know who's providing them, because as long as they are getting the world's best services and products, they really don't care. So this is the future of banking when you talk about open banking and fintechs, according to me. With that, I end it. Thanks a lot for your time and attention.
Thank you, Shahid. Exciting stuff. When I told you, it is interesting presentation as such. Shahid, in the interest of time, I have many questions have come. I'm going to pick up two questions. One is platform banking versus distributor. Which one is more preferred in this part of the world? And how do you see the reasoning?
So I think there is still a few milestones to get to the point where banks are gonna stop working on developing financial products completely. Mm-hmm. So that's one. Second, what we are in today, banks are already collaborating with fintechs and co-developing the products. Okay, so that milestone is already achieved. So when I used to present these slides 1.5 years back, my manager used to say to me, hey, let's not develop science fiction. All right. And unfortunately, he doesn't come from FSI background. And when I talked to him today, he said, he has a different take on it, because that's where the FSI world is gone in terms of evolution and growth. So tremendous amount of focus, effort already in co-innovation with fintechs. And example is, you would know in the region, forget about the West, there are tons of banks who are heavily invested in fintechs. So either they have a fintech of their own, or a fintech which exists there and they are funding it. And fintechs which are established in there, they're inviting them saying, can you help us develop financial products and services? So
here we go.
Tremendous amount of progress.
Interesting. You talked about open banking. It is very interesting and interconnecting multiple systems. How come open banking integrate with the core banking systems? How does it works? Have you seen any instances in the region?
Oh yes. So as you must have seen in my reference list, Mashreq is one bank where we have recently sold them open banking, and it is all API driven, Doctor. So we have APIs pre-built for the banking industry almost in every single product or service that you can think about. So we forget about core, which is very, very easy, any core banking solution. We are talking about pre-built APIs to mainframes, which have become obsolete, the shoe racks, right? So we can actually connect to the mainframes even and talk to them and bring the data back into the open world.
Interesting. Good. That was Shahid Khan, Strategic Leader, Banking, Insurance, Middle East and Africa, Oracle. Thank you, Shahid, for the wonderful presentation. And in interest of time, again, I had to cut short the questions, and there are people who ask me questions, which tools to use? The platform is there. You have plenty of tools you customize based on your requirements, whether you want Internet of Things, blockchain, or artificial intelligence, 3D, choice is yours, and you have plenty of reasons to believe experts like our panelist can add value to you if it is required from your business perspective. So let me move on to the next speaker again. Artificial intelligence empowering banks for individual customer experience. My colleague Peter talked about experience. That's the name of the game. How do you feel interacting with the institution? And that's the feel factor. That's, and it's not measurable per se, but your experience should be profound and highly professional. And that's what exactly the IBM speaker, Mr. Inigo Vitti, this CTO, Financial Services IBM, is here to present. My dear Inigo.
Thank you, Dr. Sitaraman. I must admit that I love your presentation. So hopefully we have some time, some opportunity to go through those videos. I was shaking my head. I think all the topics were very relevant, and I've worked in a number of those. I liked as well very much the presentations of the previous speakers. So I think it's going to help me a lot go faster with my introduction, because the challenge with 15 minutes is that you need to hone on something, but you want to set the context. But I think in this case, the context has been set. Let me just start by introducing myself a little bit, so my presentation is better understood. My name is Inigo Vitti. I'm based in Spain. I lived in Ireland for many years, 18 years, and my background is business process management and enterprise content management. And back in 2014, I moved into Watson AI. So I was one of the first expert labs or professional services resources in Europe. So my presentation is going to be very matter of fact, less strategic, but much more of what it is that we are doing, because at heart, I'm a consultant and I do delivery. So what I'm going to present today is very much the things that can be done today and that we've been doing over the last few years with financial institutions in terms of helping them personalize the customer experience. And that's the name of the word. So let me just go and present. Why is it that I don't see right now? Let me just share my presentation. Here it is. Couldn't see. And I put it in full presentation mode. So I only have a few slides. This one, I think, is the one I was referring to. The previous panelists have done a great job, so I don't think I need to spend too much in contextualizing my talk, but certainly we've seen post-pandemic a market disruption, and the acceleration towards digitalization is certainly taking place. So customer expectations have changed. The previous panelists have made this very clear. You expect a very seamless user interface on the moment. You want to be able to do banking in your place, in the sofa, wherever you are. And you want it to be transparent. There is new competition. Fintechs already, nobody mentioned this, but it's already in a two-figure, the percentage that they've got out of the marketplace. So that's really presenting challenges to the traditional financial institutions, if you like. Data analytics and AI, it has been mentioned earlier on as well. Big data, advanced analytics in general is really something that is being used mainly by the fintechs these days, but traditional companies are doing a lot of work as well in the concept of data fabric, which presents the gold, the data that is used to personalize the journey. The nature of work, we've been working remotely. There are new ways of collaboration. Regulatory and compliance continues evolving. And certainly even in the world of artificial intelligence, something that has been mentioned at the very beginning is as well trust and transparency. So AI trustworthy is key, and security and fraud. I was just reading yesterday in the paper that in Spain, for the first time in history, the number of thefts that have happened digitally has surpassed the number of thefts physically. So certainly the world has changed. And my talk is very focused on how does artificial intelligence can help financial institutions personalize the customer journey. And what this slide presents is that there are multiple new data points that have to be used in order to be able to enrich and enhance the customer experience. Financial institutions, in order to be able to provide a better service, to maintain their customers, have to up the game, have to make it personalized. This has been already very, very clearly stated in the previous presentations. There are multiple data points that are available. Like, for example, it's about making use of all the communications, the contact points that that customer has had with the bank. Maybe it's part of a contact center. It's about mixing transactional data with unstructured text, for example. It's about doing email analyzing of all those communications that the customer has had. And that brings a new and enhanced customer experience that we can see here to the right. How do you fine-tune your marketing, your promotions? In a nutshell, when you speak to a customer, the customer service call, each time you speak to your bank, you want your bank to know who you are, your history, what products do you have. And that really yields a fantastic set of benefits, increase customer profitability, be able to do a much better customer segmentation for product affinity, which we're going to see in a minute, enhance customer loyalty and analytics, better regulatory and compliance, etc. So this probably is a slide that you've seen in the past, but I think I like it very much because I think it represents very well the fact that banks need to understand their customer and where they are in their lifetime and be able to adapt their messaging, their communications, their offering to that point in their life. Our needs are not the same when we are a teenager than when we start going to a college, than when we want to ask for money for our first car, than when we maybe get married, we need a mortgage and so on and so forth, up until retiring age, when we need maybe a reverse mortgage, where we maybe need some advice on how to manage our money. And really using artificial intelligence for customer personalization is about knowing your customer and where they are and what their needs are. We call it hyper-personalization. The next slide, this is the busiest slide that I have, but I thought of bringing it because I think it's very concrete, very to the point, and articulates very well our vision. This is a lifetime. You can see from discovery, onboarding, relationship management, servicing, and maybe the risk and compliance is a slightly different lens and dimension. But I want to focus through this journey. This is about being able to use artificial intelligence, regardless of where you are in the life cycle of a customer, to provide a better service. So maybe it is in discovery, you can use artificial intelligence to prioritize what are the right leads to pursue, or maybe from an onboarding point of view, to make a paperless process so that it's seamless and quick for each customer. In relationship management, this one we get more into the meat and opportunities. There is, excuse me, a lot of things that can be done in this space. We have solutions, for example, for predicting client attrition, and be able to take an action before those customers have left. As well, and this is my favorite one, product propensity or offer affinity, be able to say, this is the best product for my customer, given her or his circumstances. Life event prediction, anticipate the needs of your customer and be able to provide them a service based on that. In the area of service, client self-service is huge. As I mentioned earlier on, our customers want to do self-banking. I think the word of chatbots, which is a terminology I don't like, I much rather call them virtual agents. They are very powerful. They can integrate. They can become transactional. So you can really do lots of things. I think actually in the area of MIA, there is still, in my opinion, lots of potential for implementation of virtual agents that enable self-service. Email management, as I mentioned earlier on, we've got plenty of solutions in that regards to really assess intents of emails and really streamline the processing of those customer requests, and in some cases even completely process them through straight through processing. So I hope, I don't have time to cover everything, but I hope it gives a sense that each of these blocks are real tangible things that we have available already today. And my recommendation to financial institutions is to look at it from a customer-centric journey and enrich the customer journey with all these nuggets of AI, if you like, to really personalize the banking experience. So to move on and to summarize a little bit more the message. If I was to recommend you how to start this journey, always from a very client-centric and not technology-centric point of view, these are the things I would start any financial institution to start doing. Dynamic segmentation. You may be thinking, but hold on a second, and you go, we're already doing customer segmentation. We've been doing that for years. But my message is yes, but not with the modern data points that are available. Usually it's age, usually it's income, location. This is about using many more data points that I mentioned in a slide previously. Life event prediction. I mentioned this before. Anticipate to your customer needs. Understand where they are in their life journey. A colleague of mine was telling me the other day, he's been banking in North America with the same bank for 40 years. He was asking for a mortgage. They were asking him for information, like if he was a teenager, and he was appalled. He was, how can this be possible? They know me for 40 years. So really know your customer and anticipate. Client attrition, don't let your customers, you will see an example how much benefit you can achieve by understanding the likelihood of a customer going to move away, whether it's the customer or the funds that they have in the bank, and put action against it and offer affinity. As I mentioned earlier on, one of my favorite ones, be able to, from a marketing campaign point of view, instead of shooting emails to a wide population, be able to prioritize and identify who is the population that is likely to adopt your products and services. Just to finalize my presentation, I wanted to put some empirical examples, some real data of what it is that we've done out there in the world by using some of these examples. For example, in USAA, I can't name all the customers, some of them are blank, but in USAA, we've been able to achieve 95 to 98% accuracy in determining the life events for a given customer. That really allows you to personalize. And don't think that in artificial intelligence, these accuracy levels are normal. That's huge. That's extremely high. But even achieving a lower accuracy would bring tremendous value. In a Swiss bank, through client attrition, they've managed to reduce by 66% the client attrition. That's huge again. And that has yielded revenues for upsell opportunities up to 300% more upsell opportunities. In the United States, from a funding cross-sell opportunity, it has improved 65%. And in EMEA bank, it has the cross-sell improvement has yielded 22 million per quarter. So this is very clear return of investment. It's not nice to have. I think it's a must that financial institutions really embrace artificial intelligence throughout the life cycle of the customer journey, personalizing the service. And in the last few minutes that I have, I just wanted to do a little bit of propaganda about how we go about and do it. It's not so difficult nowadays to be able to launch artificial intelligence use cases. Most companies are now developing machine learning and artificial intelligence in many different platforms. Unfortunately, a very small percentage of those projects are in production. There are complexities in understanding the impact of those models and having machine learning operations in place. But the message I want to convey is that we've got a platform that is nimble, that is multi-cloud, whether you've got models running in AWS or in Google Cloud Platform or in Amazon or on-premise or an IBM public cloud, we've got a nimble solution that can travel where your data is or can be in your premise, that can really provide the end-to-end capabilities to launch artificial intelligence based projects. So it's not really that messy anymore. You can really do it in an agile fashion. And you can see that IBM is certainly leader in this space based on Gartner, Forrester, and IDC. So with this, I stop my presentation. I think I'm very much on time. Thank you for the opportunity again. And if there are any questions, happy to try and answer them.
Absolutely, you're on time and you're spot on. What an interesting elucidation of artificial intelligence. Now, tell me if the areas where artificial intelligence can be used for corporate banking for the benefit of the viewers. I mean, whatever you said made sense to me. Lifetime journey, client, yes. how do you measure your clients, right? From attrition to people deflect. Why? You answered beautifully. Now, when it comes to artificial intelligence, areas, especially in the wholesale banking side, corporate banking, corporate and commercial banking side, where it can be used.
Yeah. There are many use cases that come to mind, but certainly one that is actually the majority of the artificial intelligence use cases that we're implementing are related to corporate banking. For example, SME lending, be able to identify what is the right amount for a particular small and medium enterprise business to be able to, from a lending perspective. And that's very much related as well to default lending, for example. What is your likelihood, especially nowadays, very important in pandemic era, so the financial institutions can really prepare for default to loans, etc. So there are multiple use cases that can be applied across the corporate banking spectrum.
Interesting, brilliant. Now, you talked about cloud. Now, Google Cloud is ready to present now. Mr. Basel had in a regional sales manager is here, cloud computing revolutionizing banking industry. Very true. And let us listen to Mr. Basel. Over to you, Mr. Basel.
Thank you, Dr. Sita, and thank you everyone for inviting me to speak at this forum. As I said, my name is Basel Haddadin. I'm leading the financial sector at Google Cloud in Qatar, and I'm not new to Qatar. I've been here for the past 16 years. And today I'm really excited to see innovation discussions aimed at driving the digital economy that contributes to Qatar's national vision 2030, and with the support of Qatar's central bank strategy for the financial sector. For Google Cloud, Qatar is an important market, and that's why we're very excited to launch Google Cloud region in Qatar. And we're committed to helping organizations accelerate their digital transformation and reimagine their business through powered innovation. Initially, when we look at the cloud era, we see that there have been mainly two stages. First, the cloud virtual machine, the VM cloud era. New companies, and mostly startups, realize that they can avoid buying or operating hardware and start in the cloud. This was a key catalyst for many great native cloud companies we all rely on today. By the end of this first VM cloud era, it became very rare for startups to operate their own data centers. Second, and what's really been building the last decade, was the infrastructure cloud. It's been defined by organizations simply migrating their infrastructure to the cloud. Take your servers, take your storage, email, file sharing, and move it to the cloud. It's still pretty much the same thing. This has been really important, of course, and it has enabled cost savings, and things can scale up and down, faster development without having to do long-term infrastructure planning. Of course, it has improved security and the ability to redirect more people and your resources to building new capabilities versus simply managing your infrastructure. And we saw how in the last decade, the infrastructure cloud, companies splintered mainly in two groups. Those that migrated much of the infrastructure to the cloud and continued to exist, while companies that ignored this migration were generally left behind. That said, while the ROI of these early cloud migrations, as my colleague has said, was really important, it did not deliver compelling transformation or disruption results as many had hoped. It hasn't fundamentally changed how business leaders and employees work outside of IT. It was taking old school IT and changing the operating model only. This is because simply migrating or lifting and shifting systems alone does not catalyze a digital transformation. And ultimately, digital transformation is not simply about leveraging cloud infrastructure. As we looked at how we could most be helpful for business, it was clear that more infrastructure wasn't enough. Companies needed, and of course banks and the financial sector, needed someone to solve with them. a strategic partner on high velocity innovation for their customers and their employees. We're talking about digital transformation acceleration and how the infrastructure cloud and virtualized infrastructure is now a given. But what's next? This is the main question. The really interesting conversation are how we get to the third phase, the transformation cloud, where we're not just making an infrastructure decision, but truly embedding the needed and the capabilities to transform throughout the company. Digitization now is fundamental. And this phase moves from what might have been a top-down corporate strategy and initiative for infrastructure to fully infusing transformation, letting every person and every team within your organization transform. During my conversations with the banking sector here in Qatar and the region, we found out that they're mainly trying to answer 4 questions. First, how do we get significantly smarter? Today, we have data in a bunch of places, but it's still only few analysts who can really tap into it, or data scientists who can build machine learning models to get insights or make decisions in real time. Instead, how do we put data in the hands of every employee to help catalyze transformation and solve the most important and impactful opportunities in the financial industry? Second, how do we transform while maintaining freedom and also adapt to market needs? Today, we have complex environments that have rapidly evolving requirements, legacy applications that need modernization, mix of proprietary technologies and vendor solutions in multiple environments. Third question, how do we connect people better? For many of us, work is no longer a physical place we go to, and interactions that used to take place in person are being rapidly digitized. Office workers no longer have spontaneous discussions walking to meetings or over coffee. Sales teams and relationship managers at banks always rely on their phones to get their job done. And customer interactions with banks are accelerating how they use technology to deliver their financial services. Last but not least, how do we evolve our security practices to protect everything that matters to us? Our people, our customers, our data, our customers' customer data, and each transaction we undertake. And how do we do so while meeting sovereignty and governance requirements? Now that we have highlighted the 4 key questions banks are trying to answer, let's take a look in more depth at what transformation cloud entails. First, become smarter. Make use of the data cloud, as data is the essential ingredient in the financial sector and is the rocket fuel for business transformation across analytical and transactional applications. Once data is generated, it empowers deeper AI-driven business insights and make better real-time decisions, and is also the basis for how you build, run your data-driven applications. This is the heart of the data cloud that is emerging to unify data across the bank. This is why there is so much excitement in the cloud market for the data cloud. From the point data is generated, aggregated, and analyzed, cloud smart analytics and AI solutions allow banks to democratize access to all their business data, to run their analytics at scale, using built-in automated intelligence, resiliency, and serverless features that provide self-driving, self-optimizing capabilities to help banks achieve their business outcomes and redesigning their customer experiences, manage their risk, preventing fraud, and increase their overall operational efficiency. Now that the data cloud has made you smarter, banks need to have the freedom with the open banking and the open cloud to avoid lock-ins. The discussion has evolved from why cloud to which cloud architecture. The vast majority of banks will use a combination of clouds and open source software rather than rely on a single service provider or closed technology stack for their needs. For those that still try to standardize their environments, it is inevitable that they will need to support multiple clouds and embrace open source as their business evolves. Whether it is through corporate acquisitions or the influx of line of business acquisitions outside of the centralized IT, it is next to impossible to maintain a pure technology stack. Therefore, an open architecture allows banks to secure their business continuity, taking advantage of the strength of technologies wherever they are running it. The cloud gives banks faster way to technically meet their business outcomes. An open cloud transforms the way they operate their business, offering freedom in how they want to innovate and drive differentiated customer experience. A transformation cloud isn't just about technology. We need to consider the role of connecting people and cultures, as they are equally important with the collaboration cloud. Banks understand that successful transition into this new era of work hinges on how they keep people engaged, productive, connected, and create new ways to serve their own customers' needs. This is our ambition with the collaboration cloud. So what does it look like? A reimagined work environment that supports a mix of in-person and remote workers and customers' interactions, with the integrated tools that let people focus, maximize their time, and better understand their customers as they operate in a world with fewer boundaries between work and personal life. A collaboration cloud offers new ways to strengthen human connections that supports everyone to equally participate. And this is really important. In digitized world, we see that you don't have always the chance to collaborate and share your ideas. This is why collaboration cloud is very important. Finally, data, freedom, and collaboration won't be useful without the right level of protection. With a trusted cloud defends your data against threats, fraudulent activity, empowering you as a bank to advance capabilities with the advanced capabilities that would not only be available to the most well-resourced organizations. As banks move into the cloud, they seek to take advantage of what a company like Google has learned and applied to their core security concerns, to simply secure access to services for employees, contractors, and customers, protect against threats, and create the visibility needed to find and analyze and resist threats at the scale of your business. Own your strategy. Take advantage of cloud innovations while meeting sovereignty and governance requirements, and maintain control of your digital assets. I personally believe that the promise of a trusted cloud is built on three pillars. A secure platform that delivers transparency and enables sovereignty. A proven zero trust architecture. Trust no one. Last but not least, a shared faith, not a shared responsibility. Banks need a cloud partner to stand with them from day one, helping implement the best practices for safely migrating to and operating in the trusted cloud. Finally, today, and now more than ever, the pace is set by industry disruptors such as Fintechs, InsurTech, and other players, as my colleagues have mentioned, shifting customer expectations and regulatory development. In many ways, recent experiences have only accelerated the need to digitally transform. Financial services organizations have unique requirements when it comes to security policies, standards around data residency, identity, and access control, as well as regulatory and compliance obligations for risk management. Cloud technology presents significant opportunity to help financial institutions standardize in multi-cloud or hybrid environments, streamline tasks related to compliance and governance, improve visibility through the use of analytics, and minimize complexity with modern collaboration tools. We're already seeing tremendous success with leading banks embracing the transformation cloud, moving their business well beyond infrastructure and migration, and moving fast forward toward the next era of the cloud evolution. Finally, and before handing it over back to Dr. Sita, I wanted to thank Dr. Sita Rahman and the Doha Bank team for inviting me for this wonderful opportunity to share with you my views on the cloud transformation. And I'm sure next time we're going to meet, we'll be talking about many successful use cases from the Qatari market and Qatari financial sector. Thank you all, and off to you, Dr. Sita.
Truly transformational, Basil. You have put it so simply, but so effectively. I should compliment your presentation as such. Brilliant, brilliant. I'm sure the audience would have enjoyed. Two questions arises, and we are just slightly out of time by a few minutes. Nevertheless, these are the giant institutions, and their representatives are experts in their own professional walk of life. They gave so much to offer the audience. I'm sure audience, you're all enjoying it. Basil, question: which clouds are relevant for financial service industry? In what way?
I would say mainly in many ways. First of all, in terms of reimagining the customer experience. There are many ways today you can interact, and the colleagues has mentioned that. But I would say utilizing today multiple cloud resources and innovation. Talking from, I mean, the first interaction of anyone with the internet, you go to Google search, and this is where we start gathering the information. Today, 40% of the internet traffic goes on a Google network. All this information, we make it available to people, and to start defining the customer experience with chatbots, with intelligence, all the intelligence that we use internally at Google, we make it available to the financial sector to use it. The second thing I would say, of course, from an operational perspective, utilizing the economies of cloud. No need to buy all your infrastructure and provision for future expansions. You can just pay as you use, pay as you go. This is, there has been a lot of saving, but the most important part, as I mentioned, is the data and utilizing, and you've mentioned it with the colleagues in terms of high performance computing and quantum computing. Today, you don't have to invest a lot of money in computing. We see banks like HSBC, for example, they use data for 65 countries to manage their liquidity and increase, I would say, reduce your risk, your banking risk in terms of having more data to predict. So there is no capacity or there is no limit to have your data hosted on cloud.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Very articulate. Now, what could be the regulatory challenges in having these clouds? That's one question which all of us have got concern.
Sure. So I would say there are business critical applications or customer data applications that require data residency, as we see it here in Qatar. Of course, as Google, we're trying to expand as much as we can to come closer to our customers and build data centers. That's why today in Qatar, we're building a new region with 3 zones. So we're going to have 3 data centers in the country to come closer to our customers. Of course, the expansion in the Middle East is key, and we are coming closer to our customers. So there are 2 ways of doing it, whether leverage the non-customer data or non-sensitive data to the cloud, and of course, coming closer to our customers. So it's a 2-way, I would say, investment.
You must be talking to the regulators, I suppose, all the central banks across the region.
Of course. And as I said, the example I gave on HSBC, they've been leveraging, and there are ways to even manage data. They manage the data of 65 countries. So that's a lot of data, and that's a lot of regulators to deal with.
Absolutely. Good. That was Mr. Basil Adadin, Regional Sales Manager at Google Cloud. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been witnessing an extraordinary session, and I have Facebook many questions. I don't know, questions have come from Jordan. There are 4 questions have come from one individual, gentleman from Oman. Now, somebody is asking also, I should ask this question to Peter. is Doha Bank is trying to apply all these tools for our own operation. Is asking, what's your answer, Peter? One of the audience is asking this question. His name is Abdullah Balushi, I think. Yeah.
Thanks very much. Yeah, we're working with many of these companies in different stages. We're doing some proof of concepts in certain areas, and we're looking to roll out things for our customers. Obviously, there's a lot to do with the emerging technology. We've also got, an existing bank to run with customers to serve with existing distribution channels, and we have to sort of balance the the needs of running the bank day to day with a lot of these exciting technologies. But certainly, we're working with all of these companies, and we look forward to further collaboration as we create some exciting things for our customers.
That's answered. I cannot take all these questions. I have full flow of questions. Now, we will try to respond to you through mail. And if need be, we will contact our speakers as well. With this, I have to invite my head of technology, Mr. Sridhar. Before that, I just want to say a few words. What a brilliant combination of speakers, and each one of them have showcased their the opportunity that you have in store for your own business. Let us remodel, let us innovate, let us. Gaurang Shah from Syria, Vice President, Product Management, Digital Payments and Labs, MasterCard as presented. Again, Shahid Khan, Strategic Leader, Banking and Insurance, Middle East and Africa, Oracle. And Inigo Vitti, he talked about the wider artificial intelligence way forward, empowering banks to individuals, customer experience. And the last but not the least, we had a brilliant presentation from Basil Aladdin, how the computing gets revolutionized through cloud. So I'm sure you all have enjoyed as much as we are all witnessing the vibrations of the futuristic options. With this, let me have the pleasure of inviting Sridhar to say the word of thanks.
Thank you, Doctor. On behalf of Doha Bank, thank you so much to all the speakers and the audience here for participating in this event and sharing the insights of whatever you have gathered over years of your experience. So this event like this cannot happen overnight. So the preparation for this started a while ago. So I'd like to thank the team of very motivated and dedicated partners and colleagues who work towards making this event a very high quality one. And we thank you for being with us. It's been a pleasure. Have a great day.
Before you go, my dear ladies and gentlemen, and our customers across the globe, tomorrow, don't forget to attend at the same time a brilliant session on cyber resilience. Again, great combination of peoples. It's important we map this risk. Business is a great advantage. When you start mapping this risk, you get complete resilience for your business, and enterprise becomes stable and functional. With the changing face of the world, we need to have full understanding of cybersecurity. And that's the purpose of the session tomorrow. We welcome you all for this wonderful yet another sessions for us to have intelligent inputs. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, gentlemen. I can't thank enough.
Bye-bye.